Hi there folks, Rob Helene with a live trading update. The date is the 6th of August 2013. It's been a few weeks since I did a last update, and to be honest, not much in my little world of trading's really happened. A couple of break-even trades, even a couple of little losers. Besides that, not really much going on. Just my style of trading. Just haven't been able to get into anything that sticks. Just as a reminder, I'm a swing and position type trader, so I like to go after the big fish, the big pips, and sometimes when you have a strategy like that, there's a little lull in proceedings, and what you're hoping for is, or what I've found anyway, as I just draw on the screen, is sort of this is what you sort of get from a trading account sometimes when you're in that, and or when you're a swing and position trader. Sometimes when you're just trying to find new direction, and when the markets go a little sideways and your strategy's not working out, you get a little bit of what was in the green box there, just a little pullback and lull in proceedings, and that's just what I'm going through now. So it's all important just to stick to your strategy and stick to your guns. No need to change anything and panic. If you've been trading your own strategy for a while, you realize it's just a matter of time before things kick in and things go your way, and all will be good. So I did a video a few weeks ago, got some good feedback and some questions. So as I'm going along here, I'll try and address some of those questions. Otherwise, in the comments of this video, please feel free to ask further questions, and I'll get some answers to you. Let's just go through all the pairs that I like to look at. This is the Aussie Yen pair here. We'll start everything on a daily chart, and we'll also have a look on a 4-hour chart, and we'll also sort of go through the process that I look at every day of trading, go through all the pairs. It should take about 10 minutes, and then we'll be all done trading, planned for the day, and time to move on and do some other things. So the last time we met, I did a video. This Aussie Yen was sort of in this wedge that I'm sort of drawing on the screen here. And so direction hadn't been found. Well, now it's fairly obvious where we're going, and so I'm going to be pretty keen to try and just continue that trend. I think that's pretty significant there, actually. The fact that it's broken down. Obviously, we're at maybe the fib boys are looking at this saying, well, we're at like a 50 to 618% of the rise. Price hesitating. Now it's broken down lower, so there's our new direction. No need to trade it while it was sideways. It's just got new direction now, and so as a technical trader, you should probably consider that that's the direction you're going to go. So my bias for this is actually going to be down, but I'm going to be waiting personally for a bit of a bigger pullback. So I'm going to sort of wait for something like price to maybe pull back up to here, and then continue that and sort of come back into where all these previous lows were in here. I've got all these sort of previous bottoms from the previous move down, or that bottom of that wedge that I was just drawing. And we'll back up that sort of 90 area, nice big round cycle level number. That's where I'm going to plan my trade for the Aussie Yen. So for me, it's just a matter of putting my box on the screen, telling it I want to sell, and then I can just reposition my box. And just a reminder, the way I like to trade with this sort of trade is I'm waiting for a 15-minute price action confirmation in that box. And so I'm hoping in the next day or two, price is going to come back up into my zone, give me the change of trend, and off we go. So that's the Aussie Yen basically done. Very simple. Bias down, find an area where you'd like to short it from. That's the area I would like on a bit of a bigger pullback of this move down, and then go about, it's a matter of waiting. The Aussie dollar has taken a similar tack. Okay, so it's once again broken down below sort of some lows through here, and so I'm pretty much going to be looking for a similar thing on the Aussie dollar. Now you'll look at this. This has been in a downtrend for a quite a long time, but I've seen a lot bigger downtrends than this, and so I'm just going to try and ride this thing as long as possible. And I'm just looking at the chart before. I just wonder whether this area is going to be significant, this green area here, in terms of the long side for me. So for me to long at the moment, having a bearish bias, for me to be bullish, I'm going to have to see sort of a little bottom form here, and then maybe something like this. Bang, thank you. That gets broken. So I'm now a bull, so I'll sort of look for that. Okay, that's how I'm approaching this Aussie dollar. But what I'm really hoping for in pink here is maybe we'll pull back up to here and continue that in that direction. Okay, so I can go back to my 4-hour chart, and I'm going to do something very similar to what I did on the Aussie yen, and that is put my sell box in a very similar sort of method, using that role reversal. All these sorts of lows you see through here once was support can now become resistance, and except for the sort of 91 area on the Aussie dollar, and hoping we're going to continue this short. So hoping this is going to maybe pop up here in the next day or two, give me some reason to short, and we're going to see something like that. Okay, I like to vision in advance where I think things are going, and I think it's quite important, especially trade planning in advance. So that's what I'm pretty much hoping for there. Okay, pound yen, just got to draw a couple of green lines here, very much in this sort of sideways trap. So cannot see myself. You can actually see I actually took a trade on this, actually took a loss. If I maybe just zoom in here a little bit to show you, I don't mind showing losses. Losses, if people keep going on about winners and never have losers, they're hiding something. That was the direction we were heading in. I was happy to risk that, hoping for that, and it just never eventuated. But now now as time goes by, to me it's not showing so much of a uphill pattern anymore. It's definitely showing, for now, this sort of flow. And so I'll be happy to wait for either direction to break and then plan my trade. Okay, so sitting on my hands on the pound yen. The euro yen, sorry. This one's frustrated me a little bit, but I can already tell where I'm going to be looking to trade this. I actually took a trade on short late last week and got knocked out on the spread of NFP, and it's since worked in the direction I wanted. So it's a little frustrating as a trader to see something go the way, this is what I was hoping for when I built a trade plan for it. And it's working, but I'm not on it. So that's a little bit, this is where you got to keep your emotions under control. Needs a little trading experience. Don't let it get you down. Just plan to get back into it. So I believe that if we see maybe this area now get broken, we've got ourselves in a pretty decent looking downtrend on the euro yen. So we'd be looking for this sort of thing. Okay, and that's what I'll be planning for in the coming days, if not week. Okay, not planning anything right now. Maybe some people are planning along sort of where we are based on this sort of support through here. Maybe thinking, this can hold, I'll plan longs. That's not my style. I'll be looking for this. Maybe it'll do this first, and then we'll try and get into it later with a little more confirmation. Okay, I think if this breaks down, it could be a really nice little trade, even back down to this sort of level here, even 120. And that's, we're at 130 now, 1,000 pips. Oh yeah, I'll be into that every day of the week. Now, the euro, it's going to show you on the 4-hour chart because the daily chart doesn't really show much either, but it's really a little bit of a dog's breakfast, if I'm honest, and I'm just not really open to any sort of trading. The last week, pretty choppy, very sideways, sort of in this ascending wedge. So gonna just sit on my hands on it and wait. I'd love it to do something like this, and then we can sort of plan the short somewhere up here in the coming days. That would be really, really nice, because I think, like the euro yen, that could be a really nice back down into the 120s, and that would be a really nice trade to have. But nothing to plan there for me right now. Okay. Kiwi dollar, sort of likewise. Kiwi dollar, being a New Zealander, I do keep in touch with a little bit of the fundamentals of what's happening in New Zealand. And they've got some dairy issues, and milk in New Zealand actually drives its dollar, believe it or not. You can tell how the New Zealand dollar is based on the price of milk or cows. Sort of in this interesting, very sort of V reversal sort of, you got a V reversal here. If you want a V reversal, it's not, things don't, this is sort of, when things change trend, it's like things step their way over, up, we're rolling over. This sort of, just these big V's here. It sort of rolled over here in green, but then we've got this other sort of just big V reversal here, and we're looking at another one here. So we're sort of forming this big wedge. And right now it just doesn't look very entertaining to me. And I'm not one to go and make trade plans where I think there's no real trades to be had. So I'll basically just be leaving the Kiwi dollar where it is and making another trade plan when it probably breaks that sort of wedge that it's got itself stuck in there. Likewise with this New Zealand yen, it's sort of not really got any direction. It looked like for a minute here last week maybe we've found some support through here, and we're off to the races. Up we go, thank you very much. But we've since got that fundamental issue in New Zealand, so I wouldn't be surprised if we suddenly see that, and then that's going to be a really nice trade when we do something like that, and we can maybe plan to short later on up in that sort of area over there. Okay, a couple of pairs to go here, guys, and we'll wrap it up. The Canadian dollar, definitely following this uphill sort of visual trend line here. Is that enough? Maybe. I'm sort of, I'd probably consider a long sort of back down here, long, just following USD strength. That's going to follow, the euro coming down, the Kiwi coming down, the Aussie coming down. So, to me, that's a pretty decent, I'm going to plan along here. If you're thinking short, you're probably looking to get into it right now, but I think we've maybe found, this is support in green. And if you're bullish, you want to buy at another area of support. Well, to me, that's going to be over here. Okay. And so I'm going to plug in a little long there for it, believing in some continued maybe USD strength. And that's what we're going to be looking for. And if we break this level up here, sort of 10, just above 104, then we're going to be attacking the old 106 and then obviously the 110 area. So that's what I'll be looking for on the CAD. The pound is an interesting little critter. I took a break even and a loss on this last week. Just is what it is. Just trying to continue this flow. Hoping for that. Didn't work. Let it come down a little more. Try it again. That one didn't work. The first one was a break. The first one over here was basically a break even. The next one didn't work, and now it's sort of turned around and got itself going. But I'm sort of going to wait for it to break these highs up here. I think. Let me just zoom out here. I really think we're in position where if we break these highs, then yep, we'll look for something like that. Would be a nice trade. But if it rolls over, might start looking for some shorts actually, some USD strength. So if we, especially if we'll put a little support through here, if we roll over and see something like that, then that could be an option. Otherwise, wait for this bigger area to break, and something like that could be a pretty good option. So sitting on my hands on the pound as well. And finally, there's the Swissy. It looks a little bit like the euro. I'm gonna give it a few days, but It definitely looks like it wants to continue this little flow down here. If it breaks this support, then I think we're going to continue our little move down here. But I will be very, very interested in the Swissy. What I would prefer is to see the USD strength. It just means you could probably get opportunities for bigger trades, and if we can break this sort of 94 level, got a lot of visual resistance up here. That was previous support, and it goes, it goes on and on and on. If we can get the 4 hour to break up through there, then I think we could have something pretty special off to the long side. So not going to plan anything there. Got a few trade plans there. I'll try to keep you updated. I do update the comments of these videos, especially on FX Street. So if you want to know how they're going, keep your eyes out. Have a good trading day, and we'll talk to you later. Cheers.